Hello and welcome to a new special podcast with my guests being two very honorable lions, one of them being Handsome Dan,
How's it going, everybody?
the man you all know and love, a pioneer of Lion, we'd say, recently attributed as well for the mid-range Dragons Plus build, and Holyfieldbr,
Hello, everyone.
who has been one of the pioneers and people who popularized the Honor Run version of Lion, which has recently shown some great results in Clan Wars and has been getting even more support, I'd say. So, guys, what do you think about Lion? Where does it stand now?
So I think that Lion is in a pretty okay spot right now. There was obviously I guess there was a period of time where Lion was very, very strong, and I think that was sort of before this most recent pack and this most recent sort of meta shift. But I think that they obviously have very good cards, and they're strong cards. They've been getting good cards pretty much since the Lion pack, and it's really starting to show. But I guess my concern, and I don't know if Holyfield feels the same way, is that it's for whatever reason, I guess the newness is wearing off, and new car smell is sort of fading, and Lion hasn't been doing as well as I probably expected them to, and I guess also it hasn't been doing as well as I want them to. So, Holyfield, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what happened is we had a major change in Dynasty because of rally mechanics and Dynasty events and stuff like that. And also the game got a bit faster. The concept of the Honor Lion, for example, was a defensive deck that built honor gains while defending provinces. And while Honor has gained support for direct gaining honor on the last patches, last expansions, it has lost a bit of power because the game got so fast that you get overrun in like 2 turns, maybe 3, so you don't get to defend a lot and build your honor slowly. So I guess the meta changed to be faster. And I give that a lot because of the rely events and characters, because it just shows options, so many options from Dynasty. Dynasty used to be like you see 4 cards a turn, maybe 5, and now you get to see like 10, 12 cards. So
Yeah, and it's not even just that Rally exists, it's also that they're printing a lot of stronger Dynasty cards in general. So you see a lot of cards like, I don't know, just like looking at Phoenix, for example, you see like Isawa Suke, just like a big body that has a very powerful effect. And the more cards like that they print, the more that Dynasty gets more powerful, the more impactful things like Rally become, because now you can find the cards that are going to be impactful the turn that you want them. You get your Mitsu 2, like, I don't know what the math is, like 60% of the time on turn 1, just because of the fact that you have Rally, your deck is thinner, and so you really can hone in on these strategies where that involve you having very powerful Dynasty cards to match your powerful conflict cards too.
Yeah, and also I would argue that in some part, especially for Honor Lion, contested countryside really hurt the deck, because now you can't run Before the Throne nor Art of War, which were a very big duo of provinces where your opponent had to break one or the other, and both really hurt him. So, like, Coco probably hurt Honor Lion like way, way more than it gave them any benefit. So that might be part of it. And also, for what you said, Dan, like, I think the cards, when you look at them in a vacuum, might be really strong, but the synergy they have between them does not allow them to excel in any specific win condition. So, for example, like, Sanori is great at tempo, of course, but it's playing in a meta with multiple assassinations, and like, while Master Tactician might be awesome, it's really expensive. So against aggro decks it's slow, against tower decks it doesn't cut it, his stats are not enough, he will get ULS training or something. So there's like the cards are there, but there is no way to put them in a melting pot together, kind of.
Well, if I can say something, I think the speed of the game went a lot faster. You can see that, for example, we used to run cards just to clear our dynasty and put cards in the graveyard, right? And now you just season war something, and you have a Fushicho ready to go, for example, with the Phoenix stack,
That to
the four bears.
be PTSD against the bird. No, I agree with you, of course. Like Season of War is also part of why the game got faster.
So, as I was saying, as the game got faster, and as Dan say, every clan is getting like more powerful cards, of course. But we have like Lion had like the same cards to make the backbone of the dynasty, right? So you had Kitsu Spirit Caller, you had Lion's Pride Brawler, and they used to be quite good cards. And you see a Pride Brawler now, and you have like so much Ambao tech that it just doesn't make it. Like Ikoma, the Castle Ikoma used to be like a major point of decision for the enemy in Honor Lion, because if you attacked and they defended, they lost another character to a bow. And now they just unbow that and go back. So I think with the amount of bow tech, a few of the Lion great cards are now weaker in a sense. And Sanuri, as you see, is not a problem because it just makes assassination a more prominent card in the game. I don't see that as a problem. Actually, I like it because it makes more risky for people to assassinate and maybe get dishonored. So,
Yeah, that's also a way to look at it. It's not just Honor Lion though. Like all those cards have been included. I think even in like mid-range Tower Lion versions. Almost every version actually has a similar core from the Dynasty deck, which might also have been force of habit. Like when you start making a Lion deck, I'm pretty sure you go Master Tactician, you put 3, you go Tanuri, you put 3, and then you think about what else you're gonna put in, right?
Yeah,
sense.
generally, yeah.
Yeah, it's like as Crabs do with Gallant Quartermaster and Envoy. It's pretty much the same. But yeah,
on a brighter note, we can look for the new cards that we got. So the new Stronghold made it possible for us to get a very good tempo mid-range deck. Honor is getting the Divine Ancestry from the last pack to maybe bring it back to par. I've been using it on the Clone Wars, liking it so far. Let's see how it pans out.
You also have the one coster, right? If you have gained 2 honor, then choose 2 cards, take one of them back in your hand.
Oh, that's going to be in next cycle, so it's not out yet. So still another couple months until that one comes. But so yeah, I mean, I think that Honor is definitely getting a lot of tools. But just to touch back on the mid-range stuff, since that's the deck that I've mostly been playing, I think that what Holyfield was saying is correct, right? Where I think that a lot of the power cards, the previous power cards for Lion have sort of phased out, and there's no real connection between any of them. And so what the mid-range decks are good at doing is establishing, just establishing a board, establishing control, and just winning the game on pure value. But I think that sort of deck archetype has fallen out of favor because of what Holyfield mentioned, right? Because decks are so fast, it's so easy for people to just get back online, so easy for people to just have some kind of swingy card that swings the tempo in their favor, and it's really hard to just to control the pace of the game when the game is so fast and there's so many things coming at you at all times.
Yeah, agreed. I personally, I am a Silver Unicorn. Everyone knows that. It's a meme at this point, but I think actually that Lion is 100% on the bottom end of the tier list. And it was so even before Pack 5. It was so even with Pack 4. I would put it just above Dragon, actually, at 6th place.
Okay.
I think actually part of its results are padded because a bulk of Lion players could get decent results with the deck. It's not really hard to use, especially the like mid-range stuff. It's not too hard, and I've seen players like Medallia, for example, make results with it without feeling like they're too strong. Of course, like he's a good player, but still, like some of his results are crazy, I think, for what he brings to the table. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, look, like I definitely will. I'll vouch for Dario. I think that he is I think that he's a strong player, but I do agree with you, right? Where the deck is not anything complex or OP or anything like that, right? I think that the deck is very straightforward and simple. Well, maybe not simple, but it's straightforward, and I think that there's ways that it can win every game, but at the same time, you never walk into a game feeling like I already won this game, and that's where the distinction comes, and that's why I think that while I might disagree with you on the placement of Lion as 6, I can see how you would think that because you never go against the Lion mid range deck and be like, okay, I've automatically lost this game.
To be
And
honest, I haven't had the most experience with Lion. Like I haven't played too much online, and like Greece has some Lions, but we have not had huge interactions. They are very special.
mhm.
Kills and all that. But like for me, when I play against a Lion, both as Crab and as Unicorn, it feels like almost an auto win. It feels like I'm playing 7-3 or something like that in my favor. I'm not sure how you view the matchups.
It's tough, right? Because like there's definitely times where I can see that being the case. It's like I said, like I feel like with Lion right now, I walk into every game feeling like it's 50-50, where I don't feel like I'm going to lose necessarily, except against LGB. I ought to lose to LGB. um, but yeah, so every other matchup, though, I feel like I walk into it, and if things go right for me, I see the right cards, and I play the game correctly. Um, I have a good chance of winning the game, but I never feel like you said, like I never feel the way you feel whenever you play against Lion, where I walk into the game like I know I got this, I got this 100%.
Yeah,
And so
Yeah,
might actually be the
yeah.
only clan who has that feeling. Maybe Dragon too.
that's crab, man.
No, yeah, like I agree. Crab currently for me are number 2 in the tier list. And I don't even play Butcher, so I don't care about restricted list rumors. But yeah, like
I would like to say compliment Dan's point of view. Well, strangely enough, I think the mid-range line it's most similar to playing Kyuden Bayushi Scorpion for some reason. The main difference being that our characters need to come from Dynasty, while they can use a powerful from-hand conflict character to carry the game. I think it's the main difference. But other than that, it's very similar in the way the game flows. And that's something I've noticed. And also, as you mentioned, LGB, Dan, it's a funny story because the Honor Lion concept basically was created to counter LGB playing Scorpion, right? So we used to play every week. He used to play Dishonor Scorpion with the City of the Upper Hand. And I decided to build up some form of deck that could win that matchup after losing like 3-4 times.
that's actually very interesting as a backstory. I remember playing against LZB back at that era, and he was super scary. Um, Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that era as well because I remember that was the first time that I'd heard of you, Holyfield. Was LGB was talking to me, and he was like, we just had this big Brazilian unofficial Kote, and it was I think you won, right? You won that Kote or that event.
Yes, and the funny thing is, if you look at my deck from that event, you don't read it as honor runner, right? It's up in Bushbuilder. It's a Spanish Inquisition, Brazilian Gotei champion. If you look at it, it's just a defensive. I was Keeper of Earth because we were locked at that point. So I just defended conflicts, used the Kami to get air rings on defense, something like that, and started building up from scratch the honor, right?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Like, I remember I looked at deck list. I was like, "What is this?" Like, I'm so confused. But it makes sense now that in the context of I want to build a deck that can beat a City of the Open Hand Scorpion, and you want to play something like that. Then that totally makes sense as to how that started.
Yeah. Something else. There has been a lot of crying about Lion. I guess you have noticed that. Sanuri and
Yes.
all that stuff. What do you think about that? Like, first of all, like historically, Lion has been one of the weaker clans. Do you think maybe people are too used to beating up on Lion players, and they are salty? Like, oh, I have to play the game now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel, as a Lion player, obviously, I feel attacked whenever people are talking about, our cards are OP, etc. I don't think, I think that there's some validity to it, right? I think that Sanuri is definitely a pretty insane card, and just like her ability to shut down one of the core mechanics of the game is really powerful. And plus, also going back to Rally, she has Rally for some reason too, and she synergizes well with all like the other mid range cards like Prepare for War and Tactical Ingenuity, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, she is definitely a very powerful card. But as far as people saying like, oh, I think that line should be nerfed, while I do agree that some of the cards are kind of obscene and maybe shouldn't have been printed in the same form that they have been printed, I also don't feel like the results necessarily are justifying the need for a nerf, if that makes sense.
I agree with Dan. If you look at it in a results perspective, you shouldn't probably mess with Lion much, but it's worrisome because let's look at it as blanket denial, right? So Tsanuri is a blanket denial on provinces. Divine Ancestry is a blank denial on honor loss. So these cards are always something to look at sideways, right? You have to be careful they don't break the game so much. So I think Sanuri being restricted is kind of a fair point. And if Honor somehow gets to the top again, I think Divine Ancestry should likely, because of denial, be restricted or banned as well. But I don't see that people looking at it as a problem right now because it's not a viable tier 0 deck, right?
Yeah, but it's also very annoying to lose against, and also if the restricted list rumors are true and everything is as we expect it to be, then for example Butcher dying will help Honor run, and the new cards from the next cycle also help Honor run, so maybe it will become like a problem very soon.
Yeah.
If we're talking about next cards coming up, I think the Exposed Courtyard is going to be a major factor for Lion in every build possible, and it's probably going to be impactful in tempo and Honor run.
Yeah, but it's not just that even, it's that holding plus the one coaster plus you will have a 11 strength stronghold province, which will be insanely hard to break because at that point you have already beat one.
I don't think stronghold will ever be 10 strength stronghold problem. If it becomes a problem, it will be errated to not be a stronghold province, as was the insane Scorpion province that didn't count Dishonored characters' strength. So
That's a rumor still. We know nothing about that.
that's gotta be, man. That's gonna break the game.
I hope so. I hope so for real. Yeah, it will break the game. But I wanted to draw off a point that you made, where you compared to the Mayusi Scorpion to the mid-range Lion build, and from that I want to move into the new Lion build that you guys have seen already, which is of course the Cranes plus 2 Voice of Honor 3 above question build with Hideous Sermon. Because what makes Q the Mayusi? It's the untap, okay, yeah, of course. It's the assassinations, you could argue that, and of course the cancels, right? So trying to have a cancel up for round 1 and trading above question for Finger of Jade in the traditional Dragons Plus version of Dan gives you a bit more of a utility, because it helps deal with towers in mid-game. You can just put it on them, then sermon them, and that's that for the tower. He can defend your own or you either. It's pretty solid, actually. Helps deal with some tricky matchups, and it also is an amazing card to play against broker decks. I've been on the receiving end of it during testing with Kostakias. The one who made this build is Kostakias, for those who don't know. He's a Greek lion, and we discussed this together. Demagog and Sly Knight also get their inputs. So, yeah, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so I was able to test out this deck a little bit, and I think that just going back to the comparisons that we were drawing with Kyuden Bayushi again, I think that it's pretty accurate, right? To where like the reason that Kyuden Bayushi is good is just that it's very dynamic. It does everything, and it does everything pretty well. So you want to try to find a deck to play, and that's sort of where the Dragon Splash deck came from. Was like, I want to find a deck that does everything, and can adjust to every situation, and go from there. I think that Kyuden Bayushi does it better, right? Because it's just more. There's more cards that are more flexible, and I guess they're more impactful in various situations. But I think that in playing this deck so far, I do feel like it has been very strong. My concern with the deck, I guess, is mostly just not having attachment removal. But like you said, the above question is really, really good for kind of shutting down towers, and I think that TK Sermon also feels the same way too.
I think also the favor control part of it is pretty important. Like, I never understood why the mid-range Lion commonly plays 1 assassination. I never understood that. But like, if you're able to get the favor and then you have like 4 cancel deck and they are open, almost nothing can stop you in the game, I feel. And it's even more important in a meta like this one, where like censures and you want to cancel the enemy's assassination. Like, it feels like the favor is maybe even more important than ever, especially with Emperor having an uptick.
Yeah, for sure. And, like you said, there are a lot more Emperors being played now. I know Phoenix is playing Emperor, Crab is playing Emperor now. So that's that's also pretty big. But people in general are just playing Censure in mostly every deck, just to have a less, I don't want to say more reliable or less dependent cancel, but then like Defend Your Honor, for example. But I do think that there are a large number of Censures being run right now, and it is important to have the favor just to shut that off.
I think it depends a lot on the matchup. The strength of the mid-range is that you can play the game in a different pace depending on who you're facing, right? So if you're facing a slow deck that needs to build up, you can rush them, because like in Lion, for example, what you want is a 2-coster 3/3, right? 2 glory, and then you can break probably break a military and a political in the same turn, and then maybe break one in the next and one in the third round. So that's one pacing. While as you're facing our unicorn, for example, it's going to rush you. You want to defend, maybe get the favor, and try to survive for another turn because his board will wipe. So I think the flexibility is important, really.
Yeah, agreed. Did you have a chance to try it out, Holyfield? Maybe play against it or whatever?
Oh, my boss in the Clan Wars wants me to keep training with my deck for my matchups and training other guys, testing against them. So I didn't have time out so much.
He sounds pretty annoying. Yeah, tell him to fuck off for me.
Results, man. He's getting results.
That's something. Did you see anything that surprised you in Clan Wars, results or otherwise?
I like the results showing that Lion's not in a good spot because that's how I was feeling beforehand. Some people are crediting it to people needing to play 3 different versions of Lion, and we probably have 2 viable. But I think it's more than that. I think honor running, if you're not used to it, it's a bit difficult for the player. And I think people are getting results only with mid-range, maybe. Tower is doing pretty bad.
Yeah. I think when people talk about 3 versions of or 2 versions of Lion, rather they forget the Kirlis version of the deck, which is not commonly used, but Ikoma Tomoya just had the top 4 in Discord League Gold Cup with it, and it's proven to be like a flexible and strong deck, I think, historically, regardless of Greek favoritism on Kirlis or whatever like that.
No, I mean, I definitely think that the Kirlis list is it's I think that it's a lot of the same concepts for the other mid-range deck, right? I think it just chooses a different route to go with character choices and your counter choice, right? And so I think that for me, when I made the Dragon the Dragon Splash deck, I felt like, hey, I think the most important thing for me to have for Lion right now is attachment control. And so I went with Dragon Splash as opposed to going the Kirlis route, where he felt, I think the most important thing is having something like Voice of Honor and having Noble Sacrifice for ways to deal with these problems instead. So I don't think that the philosophy is dissimilar. I think it's about the same. It's just sort of a different flavor. It's a Greek flavor as opposed to an American flavor.
Yeah,
I think the problem.
The third deck for the Clan Wars,
yeah, but I think the problem with that list is the mindset for that particular type of Lion is very different, and people are not used to it. And I think if you mess up the the fating of the characters, you lose every game in that deck. I think it speaks volumes about the people who are playing it successfully because they're playing it in a specific way. If you play it different, it's hard to explain, but you play it like it was Conquest and then you maybe shift to Honor. If it's a very hard deck to master, so I think that's a high wall to pass for entry on that deck.
I have seen it being played since the beginning, and I completely agree with that assessment, because you have to be very flexible against towers and stuff on where should I push Honor, where should I try to go for the Honor run, and how, and the beads and the fating, and what are the chances of me throwing prepared ambush, so should I pass here, should I not? There are so many things to take into account, that I can, I totally agree actually, but it for example, Crane is a clan that I would argue has had no 3 decks to play for Clan Wars. It has the Scorpion Splash, and it has the Uni Splash, and that's it. okay, SP is doing amazing results somehow, but most other like third cranes are doing shit, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And as far I guess as far as what Crane is doing, I think that they're sort of in the same position, right? Where ordinarily, I think that their third deck is going to be the Dragon Splash list, and I think that is what their third deck is for most of the clans, or most of the teams in Clan War. But Dragon Splash and Crane right now has the same issues that the Lion has, where it's just the pieces aren't working together enough to really solidify what it wants to do and what it is trying to do.
Yeah, I can get behind that a lot. It has no clear win condition. Like you sit down to play the game, and you try to figure out your routes, and you can't honor run. You probably can't rush. You can't out tower. You don't have an answer to convert for Unicorn or Yasamura, at that matter. Like it's just full of holes, or at least that's what it appears like from an outsider looking in. Unicorn has been on the uptake. See? I've been telling you guys. You are not listening, viewers. You had a month to prepare for the Unicorn onslaught. Okay. Every American Phoenix is dead now. From my team. Right? We got My Desires, Frotop and Travis. All three.
Yeah, this is true. Wait, actually, no, you. I don't think you guys have. Did you play us already? Yeah, you played us the first round, right?
First round, yeah.
Okay.
We got really lucky that round. Honestly, I expected your team to be way stronger, based on players.
Yeah, we just been having some pretty unfortunate. I think some unfortunate matchups and some games that have not gone our way as we wanted them to, but. We're improving a little bit. We still have a few games left to play this week, so hopefully those go a little bit better. And I know we've won a couple today already, so
yeah, you've been holding your own against Eric's team, and it's a very strong team. So that's nice. Glad to see you rebound.
Yes, we are trying. We're getting there eventually.
Another thing, now that let's talk Clan Wars meta, let's talk tier lists. What do you think the game looks like right now? Like, first of all, is there a big cutoff between decks?
Well, obviously Unicorn is tier 0, right? So everything below that is irrelevant. Yeah, no, I think right now actually it sort of felt like at the beginning of this pack meta that the gap was being blown apart. I really felt like pack 4 and that meta, everybody was really, really close together, and it felt I felt like once Scorpion got like Stoke Insurrection, that everything just kind of went out the window at that point. But I do feel like after watching some of the games from Clan War, from this pack, and just watching some of like the Discord Cup stuff, that things still feel very close. And while I think Scorpion has sort of jettisoned up to the top of the tier list from where they were before, I do think that it doesn't feel, nobody feels oppressively ahead, and nobody feels oppressively behind either.
Yeah. I could argue about Dragon, maybe?
I agree a bit on the nobody's ahead. I think most matchups are even or close. I think Crab's a bit ahead.
That's fair. No,
I think
yeah, you just mentioned Dragon, right?
And Dragon is a bit behind. But Scorpion difference is small. Dragon difference is not really small. I mean, you can play High House of Light, but then you auto lose like 2 or 3 matchups, which is pretty bad, I think.
Yeah, that is, I guess, one of the unfortunate parts. But honestly, like I think I feel like the deck is still really strong, and even though Dragon is the problem with Dragon is just that nothing is coming for them in the future, right? We have seen no light at the end of the tunnel, and so whatever they are right now is how they're going to be, and everything is just going to continue to pile on top of them, and so that's why I feel like people are down on Dragon. But I do think that High House deck is very very strong. That the Demagogue list.
Well, what do you mean? They're getting like 3 weapons. They can hold 3 weapons now, man.
Oh no, but that's not going to be impacting the High House Light deck, right? And so because that deck is not improving, maybe
That
we'll
deck
see.
should not improve, I would argue.
Like Suntory style, man. Come on.
The NBA
Like
play against.
Yeah, but I think that maybe the new Stronghold will open up some new avenues for them. But it just seems like I don't really know. In my head, like what the deck looks like.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that we were talking about because the game is faster now. Attachments, they are about gaining value over time, right? So you're giving attachments to characters and they're participating in multiple conflicts over multiple turns. And that's where the value come over events, right? So in a matter where things are resolved in 1 or 2 turns, attachments lose a lot of that value.
Yeah, and I would argue that such a deck also has a multitude of bad matchups. Like if you try to be a bit slow on the build-up, like House of Light was, you get Honor Rand on turn 2 or 3, and you will get destroyed by 5 fires, and you will get Way of the Crabbed by the Crab Clan, and then like Noble Sacked from the Scorpions, and at some point you're like, okay, what do I win by playing Tower in this meta? Like, people are crying about Tower still because people have no fucking clue how to play the game, but sorry guys, there are like less than 50 people in my opinion in the world that know how to play the game, maybe around 30, and that's it. The rest of you don't. Sorry Dan, this is the kind of podcast we're in.
No, I don't care. I mean, that's fine. I'm not on the J channel right now, so I don't have to be politically correct.
Yeah. It's an in-team meme as well because I keep saying every opponent we face is bad.
Yeah, it's a meme.
But like, yeah, you can't argue that towers are too strong when they just lose every matchup. Like that's fucking ridiculous. The only tower that's currently playable, and in my opinion is the 3rd best deck in the game, and most of the good players think I'm crazy for saying that, except for Sly Knight, is that Crane is number 3. Crane
Okay.
Unicorn is very strong.
Yeah, that deck is very potent because it has all the elements of the tower decks that, but it also has the the bonus of having Voice of Honor and some other really strong Crane tools that other decks don't have. I feel like most of the tower decks are just like, let me put a bunch of stats and throw them at you. But Crane has more play to it. They have more tools, and I think that's what makes it powerful.
Yeah. It certainly feels so. Plus, it has like the fake auto win, which is Magistrate Station flipping on turn 1.
No, tell me about it, man.
Yeah, that's one of the most annoying things that can happen in this game, I think.
I honestly think Magistrate Station shouldn't work outside of conflicts. That's all.
Maybe then it's removed from the restricted list and like the sky is bluer and the grass is greener and all that.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be restricted, right? If most provinces in the game, I think all of them except Magistrate Station, maybe not used province, work only when you're on a conflict on that province, right? And Magistrate Station works differently like that, so.
Yeah. No, I can get behind that. I'm not sure what's in the horizon for Crane, but Like, currently they have no real bad matchup, they have no really strong matchup, which puts them in a pretty decent placing for me.
Yeah, I can get behind that as well.
Crab have been on a roll lately, I'm not gonna lie. So I can also understand where Holyfield is coming from when he says that they're the best deck. I feel fucking proud of it. Because I started the broker meta. And Pablo, of course, perfected it. I have to give credit where credit is due.
Yes, Pablo is very scary.
Yeah,
Very.
he has, like, he makes the top of my top player list. Because he feels like a monster. Just watching his games. So, anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of topics. I do think that going forward into the future, I guess this is something that we maybe haven't talked about fully, is at least for Lion, right? Where I do think that some of the cards that are about to come out soon are going to make it very, very favorable for Honor, for Lion to move towards Honor, especially if the restricted list rumors are true, right? Where if Samiri is getting put on there, and Contested Countryside is also getting put on there, then I see little reason not to just go back to playing Honor again.
Yeah. I think it
Well,
will be that, or maybe the build of Kostakias, because it.
yeah, the problem is going to be building a Seeker of Water list for using the singer Lady Gaga coming up next cycle. So, and I really wish they did put like a keyword for the gain 2 honor in the phase thing. Should be easier.
Would be nice, yeah, but like they should be very careful with what they do with Honor Lion, cause if they overbuff it, like it will be completely degenerate. I don't really want to play a game where an Honor Lion can consistently honor run before, like, and have a 70% win rate or something.
Yeah, it's definitely it's
You
it's
don't
definitely
want it. Maybe other people want. I don't know.
Hard to argue with that one.
Yeah, it is a very slippery slope though, and I think that's sort of where Honor is right now. Is very, I think it's close enough to being okay, to where it's not. Let me sit down and just play solitaire, right? I don't want Honor to get like that to that point, but I think right now there's still enough dynamic to playing the Honor Run game, to where the games feel interesting and it still feels like your opponent has ways to interact with you before you just honor out. So as long as it doesn't get to that point, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. So guys, thank you for being around for this. Was a pleasure as always. Honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Panos, for having us. I'm a big fan of the things that you say and do. So I will, I'm happy that you invited both me and Holyfield to be on this to talk about Lion, and it's always fun to talk about.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for being here as well. Thank you for the invite, and I hope you can bring some light into what's happening in the Lion meta.
Yeah. That means that you are low-key a beef crew member, Dan?
Okay, sure, that's fine.
Let's not go there. Yeah.
I'll be a lone player for y'all.
You have a public image to uphold, I know. Okay, boys. Bye.